Today I'm making red roasted peppers, and they are beautiful. They are an array of vitamins and minerals, and the beautiful wild rice that comes from Minnesota where they search for it in canoes. I use that, and they are just probably different than your grandma made, but they are equally as good. High fiber, delicious, all natural, and just what your body really craves is clean ingredients. So that's what we're making. Thank you for joining me. Okay, we're back, and today we are making red roasted peppers. And I love red roasted peppers because there's a lot of different ways you can make them. I am making them with the Minnesota wild rice, and then I'm stuffing them with all these beautiful high fiber vegetables. We can add nuts, we can incorporate pesto, we can bring in our herbs, whatever flavor you decide to go, pretty much you can put inside of a pepper. I've looked at a lot of variations. I've made them just very easy without actually looking at recipes before. But what I'm going to do is make sure that they're about a third of a cup, a third ratio of each thing. So you want a third of your wild rice, you want a third of your vegetables, and you want a third of your protein. So you could do beans as your protein, you could do ground chicken, ground turkey, ground beef, of course, but then you do a melange of vegetables cut up small and lightly. You can saute them, or you can oven roast them, or you can put them straight in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them straight in. The oven, it will be set at 400, and so you can easily make a lot of these ahead of time, but they're fun to make, so let's get started. And that is done now. That took about 45 minutes to cook. I'm going to start by cutting my onion, and then I'm going to saute it kind of on medium with a little olive oil, a little bit of sea salt, and just get it a little translucent. You want to cut it in small pieces. Because this is sort of a delicate item, you don't want big pieces of anything in there. We're just going to add a little oil, olive oil, to get that going. We just want to build the flavors. Put on a little pepper and a little sea salt. Now, since I have a microplane right here, you can either put in some fresh garlic right now. Now here's a step that some like, some people don't, but you can put in, if you have tomato paste, just a little bit of tomato paste, because that's going to help the flavors in the vegetables when we get them all together in the pan. So you toast the tomato, or you can use like canned tomatoes. Remember, if you use, I'm going to turn that down a second. If you use canned tomatoes or tomato paste, make sure you buy cans that are not lined with metal. You get the BPA-free plastic cans. They're making them now, so look for those. It says it on the front of the can, so I love it that they're finally telling us what's in the can. And just continue to cook that. Okay, and this is done. I did add about a half a teaspoon more of tomato. I do love it saucy, and it does have to cover a lot of ingredients. Now, after we cut up the vegetables, we are going to come back here for a 30-second flash fry before they go into the red peppers. Okay, we're back, and we're cutting up the vegetables now. Now remember, we need a cup of vegetables to a cup of protein to a cup of our rice. And I think you could probably use barley or anything else you'd like, either stumps of the veggies. Now this is 1.5 cups. So we're looking for 3 cups worth of vegetables, and that will be everything that we have. Okay, and I'm going to do mine with beans today. I'm using the organic cannellini beans, which I love. And remember, look for the non-BPA lining right there. Okay, we've got our vegetables cut up. So we've got 1.5 cups of veggies here. Scoot that over. And we are going to put in a little bit of salt and pepper, just because we've got a lot of veggies here, and we're going to add beans, and we're going to have long grain rice. So I'm going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to put in a little less than that of the sea salt. And what I do, because that's flaked, I'm going to crush it. Okay. So then we're going to put in about a cup of our rice and about a cup of our beans, or excuse me, that's about 3/4 of a cup. Our goal is 3 cups, so if there's extra here, that's no big deal to me because that is all perfect. I'll just eat that into some other form. But you just mix the beans, the rice, and the veggies together. Now I'm going to put that back onto the stove into the tomatoes, the tomato paste, and the onion, and then we're going to cook that a little bit, just like really fast. Okay, we're going to turn the stove on to about medium to bring all these flavors together. We're going to add our mixture. Now remember, we don't have to cook it here because they are going in the oven at 400 for 25 to 35 minutes. So this isn't where we're really cooking it. We're just combining. I'm going to just get a little of the moisture out, and then we'll add some chicken stock. I usually have chicken stock on hand because I love making it on an early morning. I just cook down the rest of roasted chicken. And here's where you can add some of your herbs. I want some thyme and some basil. Thyme has like a lemony flavor, and it brings like a heartiness. Really lovely, mild heartiness. And remember, we're not cooking it, we're just combining it. Now that to me does not need a lot of water. You can put in 1/2 cup of chicken stock into the baking dish that we're going to put them in as they cook, and you can cover them with aluminum foil, but I don't know if I would want them more saucy than this, because as they combine, they're going to all give off their own juice. So we're just going to use the chicken stock for the bottom. Okay, we've got our baking dish here. And I'm going to spray that with a little bit of olive oil. Now we're going to put those in there, get them ready. The oven is set at 400, so we're good to go there. You can add your cheese and let that sort of wilt in there. You can add pesto. You can add fresh herbs, more herbs. I am going to add a couple tablespoons. And this is where it comes up to you, what you like. Whatever cheese you put in there is going to melt. So, and you're making 4 servings here. want to put a couple of herbs on top. Make it very pretty. If you were doing this for a party, you'd want it to look very beautiful. Flat leaf parsley. First I'm going to put a little sprinkle of cheese on top because the parsley will. I'm going to give these a spray of olive oil, glisten them up. I like this spray because you can cut calories. Of course, you could put it in a little bowl and use a pastry brush and put it on, and then you could put in actually a little garlic oil. And then you put in your chicken stock, and this helps them cook. So these are ready for the oven. Gorgeous. I'll be back. And they're out of the oven. They came out very beautiful. See, because we didn't do a lot of cheese, like people do a ton of cheese, our vegetables are just nicely toasted on top. Our feta's in there. I'm going to do a little sprinkle of feta on it before I serve it. And here is our finished little beauty. Let's dig in. It's like a veggie cup. And his stem stayed in there. Stem stayed in the other ones too. Now you could add more sauce inside if you'd like. But it's just a very gentle, really very gentle little That is really nice. Thank you for watching Fiberlish with Michelle the Fiberista.